The Seattle Seahawks have found a young, talented, productive linebacker for the future. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We are here on Tuesday. The week of NFL football has wrapped up, and we now have a pretty good idea of where things sit. There are 6 games left for the Seahawks. There are about 6 games left for most of the league at this point. We still got some bye week stuff going on, but we're starting to really feel things out here in the NFL, and we're still enjoying this 2-game winning streak. We're still sitting here in appreciation of the fact that this Seahawks team has found a groove, at least on one side of the ball, and I think the other side of the ball can come along as well with some adjustments, but we'll have to see. But the team is playing winning football right now. So things are looking encouraging, and that's not just with the present, that's also with the immediate future. And this is a segment that I do every week, Youth Watch Tuesday. We take a look at the young players on this team. It's basically everybody on a rookie contract. So if you're on a rookie contract and you're playing for the Seahawks, you're probably here. And basically, it's an opportunity to get a feel for how the immediate future looks. And it also gives you an idea of how good your team is doing at replenishing your talent base, right? Because if your team doesn't have a lot of young players that are contributing, they're not doing a good job in the draft, and they're not doing a good job in UDFA, and it's a problem. You're not going to win like that. That's not how football works. So with that being said, let's take a look at how the young players are doing after this most recent game. 11 games in, 6 games to go. What's cooking? Ken Walker is cooking. 90.1 PFF grade on the season now. And I know he missed a couple of games. If you add it all together, he's probably missed about 2.5 games worth of snaps because of injuries. But 90.1. The fact that we are going to be kind of pushing it to the deadline here to get 1,000 yards from scrimmage out of a running back with a 90.1 PFF grade is really, really criminal. And I'm going to say it again. John Schneider needs to go into this offseason with the mentality of whatever it takes, I am never letting this happen again. A running back like Ken Walker playing like this should be approaching 1,500, 1,600 yards from scrimmage at this point. And as it stands, I don't even think he's averaging more than 5 yards a touch, which is really, really embarrassing. And while he may end up with double-digit touchdowns, which is great, that's not really reflective of a super productive season. Walker, he's not quite Saquon. He's not quite Derrick Henry. He's not as good as those guys. But he could be very close to those guys in production. And he's nowhere near it because you have set him up to fail. So that's what I'm going to say about that. I don't think he's completely blameless. You do find plays here and there where he's dancing, where he's trying to do too much. But the fact that he is going to probably end up with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage behind this offensive line is tribute to the fact that he is a remarkable talent. So he didn't have a great game against the Cardinals, but he did end up with almost 100 yards because he was doing stuff as a receiver. So it worked out. Charbonnet, not a lot of production in this game, and I also was not impressed with the blocking. He had 22 yards of offense, and if he can't block, then he doesn't need to be out there. Like, I know that's kind of rough, but if Charbonnet can't pass block, then Walker honestly needs to play basically the whole game, and we just need to ride with it because we already know what Charbonnet's doing with the ball in his hands. It's just not, it's not his fault. I really don't think it's his fault, but it's not working at that point. 68.3 PFF grade, so, he's still a talented player. And if you fix the offensive line, he can be very productive. But the degree to which this offensive line needs to be fixed is not going to happen now. And that's it for the running backs. Let's move along here. Wide receiver, JSN. He's top 10 in the league in catches and top 10 in the league in receiving yards. So that tells you what you need to know. And he's doing that despite the fact that he has had quite a few games this year where he's been kind of a, how should I put this, afterthought, where he just didn't do that much. There have been a couple games this year where he has been very quiet, but he has gone off over the last 3 games to such an extent that he's now one of your best players. Over a 78 PFF grade. He may end up with 100 catches this year. He's gonna break 100,000 yards almost certainly, and it's a beautiful thing to see, because with what I was seeing as recently as a few weeks ago, there was a chance the JSN thing was going to go in a bad direction, and JSN's just decided, I'm not letting it go in a bad direction. I'm going to be the player that you drafted me to be, and lately he has been that guy. Bobo had a catch for 8 yards. Not much to say. He really has kind of outed himself as somebody who is just too limited as a player to be somebody you count on to do more than make like a catch a game. It is what it is. He can still do some stuff to help, but right now he's not doing those things. He's not blocking well. He's not doing well on special teams. I think this year has been kind of a reality check for Jake Bobo. This is not a guy who needs to be on the field for more than maybe 10 snaps a game. And this is not a guy we need to be thinking about as an important part of the team beyond this season. He's a wide receiver 4, and that's it. And he's already pretty old, so I can't imagine him getting better. I think he just is what he is. He's just a guy. He's not radically different from a guy like John Ursua. He's just getting more of a chance than John Ursua. But Ursua could have had 10 catches in 11 games if you had put him on the field as much as Bobo's been on the field. AJ Barner had a few catches, not huge production or anything like that. About 19 yards on 3 catches. Fine, whatever. The blocking is getting a little bit dicey, and just overall it does kind of feel like he's playing too much. That's why we need Noah Fant back. We need Noah Fant back so Barner can go back to playing like 25, 30 snaps a game. That's what he needs right now. I feel like we're putting too much on him, but I feel like it's headed in a good direction with Barner. We just got to give it time to play out. And him getting tossed out onto the field this much, this early in his career was probably not part of the plan. He's out there scrapping and fighting and doing everything he can, so, I mean, I appreciate it, but I don't think that's a winning formula. All right, offensive line, Charles Cross did give up 2 pressures. Now, they were both sacks, but I think at least one of those sacks was on Charbonnet's head. So, for me personally, I don't even think Cross's game was as bad as that would indicate. So, other than that, he was mostly fine. The run blocking's bad, but the run blocking is bad all the way down. And it's not like Cross is even the biggest problem there. So, I don't even feel the need to belabor that too much. And besides, Charles Cross is a pass protector. That's what he was in college. That was what we were expecting to get when we drafted him. There's really not a lot I can say about that. He remains one of the best players on this team, and he remains a guy that I'm looking forward to build around going forward. Hopefully, we can balance the offense out next year to where he's not giving up this many pressures despite being as good as he is in pass protection. Christian Haynes did get his first opportunity to play basically a full game in the NFL. 2 pressures, PFF grades were about average. It seems okay to me. I think that the grading was reflective of reality fairly well. He was okay. He played an okay game. He didn't stand out in any super negative way. He gave up 2 pressures, but it was just, anonymous. He was about as good as Bradford probably would have been. He didn't commit any penalties, so we like that. Oluwatimi played a clean game in that he had no penalties and no pressures allowed, but his grades slipped significantly, which I guess that kind of makes sense when you consider how bad the offensive line played as a unit. Hard to believe that some of that doesn't trickle back to Oluwatimi's play. Like, the offensive line did probably play a little better against the Niners. It just did. So everybody kind of gets dragged down when the offensive line plays that poorly. Can't run block, can't pass protect, is what it is. I'm not going to talk about Bradford. He only played 4 snaps. Nothing interesting there. Abe Lucas got docked heavily. because of the 2 penalties. Some people were really confused as to why Lucas had such a bad grade in this game, but the 2 penalties. You can't have 2 penalties in a game and expect to get graded well. It doesn't happen very often. And he allowed the 2 pressures. The 2 pressures, that doesn't really bother me that much. He's a right tackle. You're going to give up pressures, especially when you can't run the ball. His grade slipped, though, mostly because of the penalties. And I don't have a problem with that. Penalties are bad. Now, both penalties on him were declined, but he still committed them. And he's probably not totally comfortable yet, which is why he's lining up illegally. He's trying to give himself a little bit of a head start in his pass set. So I get it, but hopefully he gets better as we go forward. So still exciting to see him out there. Still exciting to see him give us better play than Gerald or Forsyth or probably Fant. We've seen so little of Fant, I don't even know if he was good or bad. Going over the defense now, Byron Murphy, 2 tackles. I think he had a quarterback pressure, but still not really making big plays, still not really a huge part of what we're doing. He's just, it's a respectable rookie year, right? It's a quality player. He belongs in this league. But I do think that some Seahawks fans are kind of disappointed in what they're getting here. What I would say is that I do think he's drawing a lot of attention in the middle, and I think that there is a clear trickle down from Murphy getting double teamed to other players not getting double teamed. But then again, I mean, it's not like our pass rush has been great overall this year, so you can't say that everyone else is feasting because of Murphy. So I don't feel like we're getting what we were billed when we drafted him, but he's young. It's kind of like the JSN thing, right? JSN is a rookie. He was decent, right? He did some nice things, but he was 21. Murphy, same age. That's it for the defensive line. Morris and Young didn't play. Tyrice Knight, however, did play, and he had a great game. He had 9 tackles and a sack. He was part of a run defense that did not let Arizona do anything, not even 50 yards of offense on the ground for the Cardinals. He's good. And it's shocking that he's this good this fast. Even Pro Football Focus couldn't deny him. They gave him a good grade. His grade's up to a 68 on the season. He, I don't know where this came from. I don't know. Based on what he did at UTEP, based on the tape that I saw, he is way ahead of schedule. And that's a beautiful thing. When we put Tyrice Knight in there, when we decided to part ways with Dodson and Baker, we should have been fully expecting a player that would make a ton of mistakes. He's not really making mistakes. He's making the same kind of mistakes any player would make. So, McDonald found a real one. And this was one of the guys that we picked that a lot of people did not really get excited about. They didn't like this pick that much. I liked it a little more than most people, but I still said he was developmental, and look at him go. All right, edge rushers, the 2 edge rusher brothers, Mafe and Hall, same as usual. Mafe had 2 tackles and a sack. The sack was kind of a gimme because nobody blocked him, but whatever. Still played well to my eye. Pro Football Focus slapped him around a little bit. I don't think it was justified. And Derek Hall had 4 pressures, no sacks. Did pick up, I think, 1 tackle in this game. Yeah, 1 tackle. So not a lot in the box score, but I think he played a good game. Pro Football Focus did not, but who cares? I don't buy it. Reek Woolen picked up 4 tackles in this game. Did break up a pass. Maybe he would have had an interception if Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't grab him on one of those 3rd down throws. But I still don't feel like Woolen played a very good game. You're seeing some of the problems that we saw with him last year. And he got beat up in coverage more than anybody else on this team. So, still not really happy with the way he's playing over the last month. It's been a rough month for him. PFF grade fell. I still don't know where we stand with him. Overall, I still look at him and I go, I don't know if I need to be giving that guy some monster extension right before I'm going to have to extend Witherspoon. Who, speaking of which, played a really nice game, 5 tackles, made the play of the century against Kyler Murray on that 4th and 1. And Pro Football Focus doesn't respect it. They dropped his grade a little bit overall, I believe. Not much, but still, it's like, man, what's a guy got to do? He made a play that single-handedly should have given him at least a 70, and it didn't. All right, so that's it for cornerbacks that played. Kobe Bryant, I mean, we all know what he did, right? We all know what he did, but it went beyond just that. 6 tackles, and the pick six. It's all good. So it's starting to look like that we might have our maybe immediate, I don't want to say long-term safety, but intermediate term safety in place here with Kobe Bryant. I want to see what happens the rest of the season, but he has been effective in every game he's played this year to my eye. And he's clearly been better to me than Rayshon. So we have a comparison. We saw Rayshon. Rayshon was not bad until he got the hand hurt, but I still think Kobe's probably been a little bit better. So we have the one-to-one comparison, and we know Rayshon's a decent player. He's a workable player, and Kobe looks much better than that. So, I mean, you're scrolling through this list, and you're thinking, like, okay, we might have our safety for the next few years, both of them, because remember, Julian Love's been extended. Obviously, Witherspoon might be here for the next 10 years. You've got 2 edge rushers that could stick here for a half decade. Tyrice Knight, and I didn't put Ernest Jones on this list, but technically he could be here. He is on his rookie deal. He is still very young. You're keeping him around, then you're good at linebacker. You've got Murphy, and then you throw a guy like Big Cat in there who is on the first year of a 3-year deal. You're kind of good all over this defense. You need a nose tackle. I still think you need another edge, and you're going to need to do something at cornerback at some point, unless you really like Woolen that much, and I'm not convinced that McDonald does. But you look at this, and you're like, there's a lot in place here that is working. And a lot of it is young, could get better, and will be here for a while if we want it. So, given where the defense was a month ago, this is remarkable. This is an incredible turnaround that I didn't think we were going to be able to have. I was fully ready to just say, we're going to have to try to fix it in the offseason. And we fixed it not even during a bye week, right? We fixed it before the Rams game. We fixed it in one off week. All right. I'll see you guys later. That's your Youth Watch Tuesday for this week. It's mostly good, man. It's mostly good. We're getting good contributions from young players all over the place. Maybe the one place we're not is the offensive line, but even that has some silver linings. And things are looking up. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone have a good day. More videos coming soon.